Guys, I've recently moved into my new place in Swansea. If you don't know what that is, it is a coastal town in the UK. It's sort of like the Venice beach for us here, except there's zero sunshine and it is always raining 24/7. Class is in session. As I've moved into a new place, guys, I've found that I've had to pack my entire collection into 4 different sections within my bed. I'll go through each section, going through the category and why the fragrances I've picked are there. It makes it easier for myself to have a future referencing system for these videos. I'm gonna go through which fragrances in my collection over the years I've regretted buying to sort of give you guys a warning. Overall though, we're gonna see a lot of great fragrances. We're gonna see some of my favorites as well. Let's get into it. In cupboard 1, first of all, we have designer fragrances I do not reach for. It doesn't necessarily mean that these fragrances are all bad, but for varying reasons, I just find myself not wearing these. For example, Risasi Alvasam Day, fantastic clone of Silver Mountain Water by Creed. But I don't like Silver Mountain Water that much in general, and also I think Club de Nuit Sillage has slightly surpassed this. It's cheaper and I prefer the scent profile to this, kind of making this clone redundant to my collection. Or some fragrances are just disappointing flankers released by big brands, like Dolce & Gabbana The One EDP Intense. Not a bad release, but it's kind of underwhelming. I don't really know when I would wear this personally. It is pleasant, but I'd still recommend to you guys to just buy The One EDP, the original. We have Un Jardin sur le Nid by Hermès. Very nice fragrance, great work by Hermès. It is unisex. I think for me, I feel that this doesn't have enough character, but it is high quality perfumery. I do recommend everyone do try this. It's got a good amount of longevity as well for a high heat summer fragrance. I'm just not reaching for this often. Prada L'Homme. Even though this is a popular fragrance, I'm gonna have to reference to this occasionally for reviews on YouTube. I do not like this fragrance that much. I think it's okay, but I'm not like the majority of you in the comments. I'm sure you guys are typing hate comments right now as I speak, but I think Dior Homme Eau did this DNA better. Prada L'Homme is a replication of Dior Homme Eau, which was more masculine. So for me, I just feel that it doesn't do this DNA justice. And then finally, we have some discontinued fragrances, like my tin can version of Rive Gauche by YSL. Extremely rare to find this. Do not spend $300 or however much this costs nowadays to buy this. It is very nice. It's got that old school 2000s barbershop DNA to it. Very good creation in the past. Just let it die, guys. There are other great barbershops nowadays. I occasionally find myself wearing this just for nostalgia's sake, but really, I don't really need to have this in my collection. It's just cool to have as a collectible. Next, we have the cheap cupboard. I know some of you watching this like to actually collect a lot of cheaper fragrances initially first in your collection. I don't necessarily think these fragrances smell cheap, actually. You do get some very high quality stuff for about $20, $25. Zara's Rich Warm Addictive is a perfect example of that. It does not smell low quality at all. The opening is beautiful, the dry down is beautiful, but don't expect the best performance. But then you get some fragrances like Encre Noir's Extreme, which does smell very high quality and it lasts about 12 hours. So that's why it's good to watch us reviewers online. We can give you guys some bargains here and there that will surprise you. There are also just some straight up underrated cheap fragrances, like Ferragamo's Acqua Essenziale Blue. This is a very smooth and pleasant blue fragrance that lasts a good amount of time, 6 to 8 hours. I think this is better than something like Versace did in blue, personally. I think this has gone under the radar. You can get this for about $20 these days. Of course, there are some disappointing cheap fragrances that do smell like their price tag, like Carolina Herrera's 212 Men Sexy. An underwhelming fragrance. It kind of smells like a cheaper, more peppery Jean-Paul Gaultier Le Mal. I don't ever find myself reaching for this personally. And then finally, you get some disturbingly cheap fragrances that are like 10, 15 bucks, and then they smell surprisingly high quality. Like David Beckham's Instinct. 15 bucks for this. I'm surprised by a celebrity fragrance. It has a nice, fresh barbershop earthy vetiver vibe to it. It lasts about 6 hours. Really, I am impressed by David Beckham. Now, a very important cupboard. These are the designers I do reach for often, like Versace Eros Flame, which I don't love that much. There are just some fragrances in this cupboard that I have to reference frequently for TikTok or YouTube videos. So this is popular, it's gonna get referenced, I have to smell it to remind myself about these products. Some discontinued gems. Bulgari's Aqua Amara, the strength of the ocean.
So good, so sexy. Try this one out, guys. It smells like the strength of the ocean. Kraft, power, strength.
I find that this fragrance just has not been replaced ever since it was discontinued. It's got this beast mode, sharp, bitter, orange scent to it. It's also sort of metallic. It's like a metallic oceanic orange that gives you a lot of compliments. I just want to go to this fragrance whenever I want this very particular vibe. It's a unique vibe. Some discontinued fragrances are still worth getting for a slightly higher price. I think you can get this still for under $100. Versace Dylan Blue. As I was saying earlier, I don't really like this fragrance, but it's popular, so I end up referencing it often, like our recent public reaction video, The Battle of the Blues. And then finally, there are just some masterpieces in this cupboard I'll always reach for. It's a bit of an unfair competition. Tom Ford Noir Extreme is a more expensive, higher end designer fragrance, but I just find this is super unique, but still very mass appealing, super sexy. If I wanted a very sweet fragrance, this is the one I usually reach for. Finally, we have the niche cupboard. In here, we do have the classics that a lot of people buy. These are easy to like Amouage Reflection Man. Fresh, easy to wear, a very safe niche fragrance to start off with. But then there are also some disappointments, like Acqua di Parma's Fico di Amalfi. Not a bad, nice fig opening, but it's a little bit overrated. This fragrance has very specific kind of use, unisex, extremely high heat type of fragrance. I just think it's not worth the price tag in my opinion. Then there are some niche scents which, you know, niche fragrances can be challenging. This fragrance has a cult following, but I'll never be able to like this, no matter how many times I try. This is Le Labo's Santal 33. I love sandalwood, but I just can't bring myself to like this. Some people say this smells like pickle water. Yeah, I would say so. It has a strange smell to it. It's interesting to smell this, but I've owned this for a while and I'm still not a fan. Do you guys like Santal 33? Has anyone in the comments tried any of the Le Labo fragrances? Which one should I purchase next? And then finally, you get some challenging fragrances in the niche world that you may love. I love this fragrance, although a lot of people don't. Parfum de Marly's Callan. I think this is a really interesting, unique signature. It's got this very peppery, blood orange, heavy, different type of scent. It's still fresh and sweet at the same time. It is balanced, it's interesting. I still think it's that Parfum de Marly quality, but it's not safe like something like Layton. It's not a safe option from the brand. But hey, I think it's cool. I think it's just that pepper note is a little bit too realistic and just a little bit too challenging. I think if people can get past the opening, if they don't mind the opening, they can really enjoy this fragrance. It becomes more sexy, warm, orangey on the dry down. A very cool fragrance by the brand. And that concludes the video, guys. I did a brief overview of my collection. I'm not going to go through hundreds of these fragrances. I thought that'd be quite boring, so I gave you a general gist of what I'm storing in different parts of my bed for now. Maybe I should get a display shelf. Do you guys think I should do that? Tell me and the community, what fragrances in your collection do you regret buying? Make sure to check out our other videos in this link. I'll see you in the next one, guys. Class dismissed.